For the turkey stitch flower, I'm starting again with a satin stitch center, and bring your needle from the front of the work to the back on the outside edge of the satin stitch center, and leave a tail about the size that you want your flower to be. Next, hold that down, bring your needle up slightly to the left, and then make a small stitch over the end of that tail where it's coming through. And that will secure it in place. Next, bring your needle up next to the same spot where the tail's coming up. Pull that all the way through, and then just do a really tiny, about a half stitch forward, and leave a loop on top of your fabric the same size that you want your flower to be. Now bring your needle up at the end of that last stitch that you made to secure the tail, sort of like you were doing a back stitch. And now we need to secure this end of the loop here. So we're going to do a small, tiny stitch over that end of the loop. Next, bring your needle up to the side of that stitch where the end of this loop is going down, just like we did for that tail stitch that we left. Bring the needle all the way through, go forward a small stitch, and leave a loop the same size. And you can kind of push them out to make sure that they are the same. Now again, bring your needle up at the end of the previous securing stitch, and bring the needle over the end of this loop here to secure that. So again, bring the needle up near the bottom of this previous loop that you made. Go forward a small stitch, leave a loop on top, bring your needle up at the end of the previous securing stitch, and then make a small stitch forward to secure the other loop. And then continue that around the circle. Once you finish the first circle, go ahead and kind of poof those up to get them out of the way, and then we're just going to do the same thing along this outer circle here. Go small stitch length forward, leave a loop on top, and then we're going to secure the one side of the loop by bringing our needle up in the middle. Hold on to that, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Cross over this thread here and tack that down. And then when you go in and do this last stitch here, you want it to end right in the same spot that you began on the outer ring, and then do one last securing stitch, make sure those loops don't go anywhere. So now you're left with this crazy fluffy looking flower here. You can actually leave it like that if you like the look of it, but I am going to go in and you want to cut all of these loops right in the middle. And once you have cut all of those loops, you can kind of give it a nice little fluff. And I accidentally made the outer loops a little bit longer than the inner ones, so I'm going to go ahead and trim those up a bit, make everything a little bit more even. And that's how you make a turkey stitch flower.